Black Adam is unlike any superhero you've ever seen before.
He does the things that we've not typically seen from heroes.
He's got unbelievable strength. He can move near light speed. He can conjure magical things. He is a powerhouse.
Tone is everything when it comes to filmmaking. Obviously, the superhero genre has been done a lot. It's been done incredibly well. The bar is very high.
In the world of comic book superheroes and supervillains, you have these characters who operate in a world that's either black or white. Well, an anti-hero, in my opinion, kind of lives in that gray area, kind of lives right in the middle. They have a little bit of darkness. Sometimes they have a lot of darkness.
I like characters that walk that fine line between doing the right thing and doing what needs to be done. And I immediately saw a character that was very similar to some of the characters played by Clint Eastwood in the 70s, where in a time and a place where the system breaks down, that character was able to bring justice in ways that other people were not able to do. I felt like I hadn't seen that character in the superhero space, and that to me was very exciting.
He crosses a particular line where there's more room for savagery without accountability. However, the line he crosses, he does cross that line for a just cause.
Black Adam is a hero to his people of conduct. He's their champion for a country and people who are oppressed and enslaved, and seemingly they have no hope, except for one man.
I've never seen any type of superhero movie kind of tackled what does freedom look like? What does liberation actually look like?
If Black Adam doesn't save Kahndaq, no one will. Superman and Batman aren't coming to Kahndaq anytime soon to save them.
You could really use a superhero right about now.
I'm no hero.
It's a bit of an overlooked area on the globe, but that's going to change when Adriana says those magic words Shazam, and she unleashes this force of nature in Black Adam.
6 immortal elders by name.
What?
Shazam!
Black Adam is extremely powerful. He's a god. The idea of this person who's essentially a demigod or a god walking on this planet, but has a sense of loss from his family, but also a sense of doubt within himself, of feeling like he wasn't truly chosen for this. You know, he's always had that held over his head.
Black Adam is a man who is really tortured. There's demons within him.
There's a lot of pain behind his eyes. Black Adam is someone who lost his family. He's haunted by the loss of what he had.
Everything is founded in love for his family and just wanting to protect them. When you know there's someone you love, if anything would happen to them, you just imagine what it does to you. So there was something very real and grounded in that kind of psychology for this character. He doesn't just want to go around hurting people, but if you hurt those he loves, it's a bad day for you.
He does have a moral code, but he also calls it like he sees it, and he's not afraid.
He gets to still keep that edge, still do all the things that the other good guys may have hard lines against just because they have their moral code, their ethics. And Black Adam has his ethics too, but Black Adam gets to play a little bit differently.
Once he arrives in Kahndaq, he is embraced by most as a champion, but to the Justice Society, he is an outright villain. And those two worlds clash.
Heroes don't kill people.
Well, I do.
That's one of the interesting parts of our movie, because it kind of thematically talks about what makes a hero, or who has the right to define what justice is. When Black Adam meets somebody like Hawkman, who has a very strict and very defined justice and moral code, they are kind of at odds with each other. But they're both two sides of the same coin.
For every person in the world, there is a DC character for them that they can relate to. And I could think back when I was a kid, when I used to read comics, Black Adam was a character who had his own moral code. That meant something to me.
It's a really moving journey of a man who's had to deal with a lot of loss. His son truly believed that one man could motivate thousands to make a change.
Sometimes we do have to be a hero to others, even if you don't feel like necessarily that you're here for the cause or worthy for that. Black Adam ultimately starts to identify with his own self and realizes that he has to be. That's what his calling is.
Shazam.
What's really cool and unique about this particular property is it's brand new. These are a lot of new characters, there are a lot of new worlds. So to bring this to life, we have a tremendous amount of freedom. We wanted to create a world that had both the modern and the old and the ancient all kind of wrapped up together.
This is a city that's endured a ton of hard times, people kind of pillaging it. Intergang is a terrible, villainous organization with the DC universe.
Everything about the Intergang, to me, was just sort of symbolic of, a fascist or a dictatorial kind of a rule.
Have your documentation ready?
Intergang utilized this magic fused into their technology to make this magic hybrid tech that makes them very powerful.
Intergang is harnessed in magic to make flybikes. We concentrated on the science fiction aspect of it, but we wanted to create a machine that felt like it could actually really fly.
And action! For us to have the ability to do LED screens and volumetric stages and new camera technologies, everything has to be pressed.
The benefit of using an LED screen is that you get all of that lighting accurately reflected onto your actor. And that's, I believe, what sells it to the audience. Your eye knows the difference.
The majority of the work for the flybike is also going to be done in the LED volume. The flybike is on the robotic arm, and the robotic arm will play back all the animations in real time, incorporated with the LED screen.
Special Effects has made a fantastic motion control rig so they can actually fly on it, almost like a bucking bronco.
The first time Jaume read the script, he started talking about the movie like it was a Western. And I thought that was so interesting. There are a lot of those Western touchstones.
Most of the story takes place and is based in Kahndaq, but we also have the DC Argos prison, which is underwater, where they put superheroes that need to be imprisoned by sound.
If Black Adam says Shazam, he gets his power. So he's in a cell, it's underwater, the cell is filled with water itself, and it preventing him from ever saying the word. The energy that is holding the water from going into the set is some type of mythical force field, and it's leaking, it's dripping. There's 2 systems pumping water into the set.
Ready, and 3, 2, 1, action!
We didn't want to put a big tank down on the floor. The whole crew would have to be working in a big tank if we did that. So to avoid that, we kept all the drips, they're all contained to within the set, and then we cut a big hole in the stage floor. We went down about 5 feet, and that's where the water will all run into, and then we'll pump it out.
The set is incredible. When you work with water, it always complicates things, but it looks beautiful, it looks amazing. And they gave me this incredible jacket. It goes with the set, really keeps me dry.
Be in the cockpit if you need me.
The most challenging build on this movie has been the Hawk Cruiser.
We wanted to make a plane that looked like a hawk in many ways. We even put mechanical feathers to be used when it's braking.
The Hawk Cruiser is spectacular. It's like a Ferrari. It's like being inside this giant Porsche. Very sexy, very stiletto-like.
They got a lot of inspiration, I think, from older McLarens. It is just huge.
We wanted to give it size and heft. It's actually the size of about a 757, so it's quite big. The wings of the ship actually articulate and animate, which we did in the Unreal Engine, so we could actually start to see how this bird-like vehicle could fly. It starts to feel, again, like a living creature as opposed to just a static item.
If you didn't know how to act and you went on that set, you would immediately be an actor. Like, it makes the job super easy.
Jaume is relentless in his pursuit for perfection in all of these sets. We've broken a lot of new ground in terms of storytelling and technology and new innovations in filmmaking. We have to push all the limits, all the boundaries, break all the rules, and that's saying a lot in the superhero genre.
I was a slave until I died. Then I was reborn a god. Shazam.
The real challenge of this film was how to make Black Adam fly. without him looking like the typical action movies. Wanted to try something different, something unique.
I am so deeply passionate. I'm passionate about everything I do, but Black Adam was special.
We knew that Jaume's expectations for Black Adam was going to be very, very high. Everyone was going to have to deliver in a real and meaningful way. We knew we wanted to surround Jaume with the best of the best, starting with special effects supervisor J.D. Schwam. He won an Oscar for First Man. He is a tech genius. Every movie he finds a way to build something, create something from scratch. He's MacGyver times 1,000.
The whole concept was Black Adam is like a heavenly being. He's like a god. His power is always present, and Jaume wanted to have him just float. He wouldn't want to waste energy on walking or stepping, so he wanted to have him hovering and floating to establish a really big, powerful presence.
Dwayne is playing those powers as if they are second nature. When bullets fly at him, they're just bouncing off his suit. When he's flying, he's not even thinking about it. He is just a god.
We wanted to try and incorporate as much technology as we could into it to make it fast and easy for DJ to get in and out. We talked a lot about not using harnesses, some type of rig that could grab him and hold him and lift him to extreme heights, but safely.
JD was able to come up with this amazing giant robotic arm that he bought, I believe, from like a car factory or something. And DJ could just sit right on that, and it allows to do these amazing, seamless, smooth takeoffs, lowers, hovering around.
Whenever there's a shot with a robotic move, I send my team in and we do a 3D scan of the set. We load that scan into our animation program, and then my team of animators animates the move.
JD created this other platform that Dwayne is on that has 360-degree wheels that moves Dwayne around the set.
I was watching a 60 Minutes episode on robotics, and they showed these carts that had these omnidirectional wheels on it, and decided right then and there that was the method we were going to take. Each cart's got 4 omnidirectional wheels. A little cart can either go forward, backward, left, right. It can spin on its center point.
There are endless amount of gadgets that JD has designed and built and brought to this movie, and given Jaume so many great opportunities to create our own vibe, look, and energy.
We've been really lucky. Dwayne is a great guy for a special effects coordinator like myself to work for. He's always trying to do something a little different and a little exciting on all of his movies to make them stand out.
Jaume is truly doing things that have never been done before in a superhero movie, and to see this hero just kind of glide around was incredible.
You better not drop those prisoners.
I'm not going to drop them. I'm going to drop one of them. We are not only introducing a new character in Black Adam to the world, but also we are building out the country called Kahndaq.
Kahndaq is very much in need of a champion. Black Adam doesn't necessarily want to be a savior or a hero, but he has to be.
Kahndaq was basically an empire 5,000 years ago.
It's also a city that's endured a ton of hard times. They've never had anyone really fight for them.
Black Adam is a hero to his people of Kahndaq because he cares.
If Black Adam doesn't save Kahndaq, no one will.
When it comes to Kahndaq and the history, it's sort of the kill or be killed, It's like everyone's on the run. Intergang has been in power for 27 years, and everyone's gotten used to this new regime. It's a very sort of oppressed society. People have lost loved ones, but you don't really have time to sit there and to mourn. You just put your head down and you get the job done.
What's so cool about role of Adriana and Amon and myself, it's a representation of the people. They're the oppressed, the forgotten, the neglected. It's about getting away from imperialist powers and this occupation they've been living in for so long.
This is like before Babylon, before the pyramids, so there's not a lot of reference for what things looked like, back then. We basically took from the comic books and we created a Kahndaq that was unique and interesting.
The Black Adam comic book is set in the Middle East. So we had a lot of real cultural history for inspiration.
From the beginning when we were looking for a production designer, Tom Meyer just stood out. He put so much research and work into kind of his design and vision for Kahndaq.
Jaume had wanted to find a point of history to open up this film. We were talking about the kind of terrain that these ancient mines might look like. And our location manager came to me and said, I went someplace really cool. It's totally unexpected.
We found ourselves in middle Georgia, down near Roberta. We found an empty portion of a sand mine. It's a company called Atlantis Sand and Supply that have been gracious enough to let us make camp here with them for a few days and turn their mine into ancient Kahndaq and modern day Kahndaq as well.
It's this meringue whip of beautiful fingers of sand and sandstone. And when you find a gift like that, you have to argue to go there.
This location was kind of a unique challenge for us. It was a lot of fun, and there's basically no access to the pit. It's been sitting abandoned for many years. The amount of equipment and gear and parking and tents and cooling for everybody, just to make a film happen properly and safely and keep everybody comfortable and safe from the sun and the weather and all that. It's a huge, huge undertaking.
I don't know this place.
This is your home.
Now, when we fast forward 5,000 years later, that Kahndaq no longer exists.
But Jaume was really interested in having Kahndaq be a real city that you could feel real people living in, and he wanted it to have a sense of history.
Kahndaq has been occupied over and over again through the centuries for different invaders who have been searching for the resources of the land.
We looked at places like Rome, where you have all these fantastic ancient ruins right in the middle of the city, and there's no delineation or separation between you and history. Kahndaq needed to have a sense of energy and kinetic movement, and we decided to put a marketplace, a huge marketplace in the middle of the city to give that sense of community.
When we first sort of approached the Central Market, I took it in a very literal way. And then when I had dialogue with Jaume, he wanted it to be something that we haven't seen, having it be mildly futuristic.
And it's kind of an embargoed city. And so we did have an idea that the city's been cut off from the rest of the world. And so in some ways, modern technology has been kept out. We wanted to show the ingenuity of the city. How do cell phones get recycled? How do these beautiful cars get recycled and reused?
I'm a real big fan of the Kodaki props. And these are like crazy cell phones we just sort of did up. They're also a little funky. You don't really know. They're old 90s cell phones that we just sort of dressed out. This phone, before this was on, it was just like an old BlackBerry. And they found it on the ground. It doesn't work. In our film, they would take it to someone who would strip parts out of something else and figure out how to get it to work.
We really wanted to make it feel like a rich country, rich in heritage, rich in culture, rich in people, even if everything is not brand new.
Mom? Mom, where are you? No. What? I'm in one of their bikes. What bikes?
We really pushed the bars in terms of what we can do with technology.
Jaume wanted us to be able to see these worlds and experience these worlds before we actually built them, before we shot them.
And then in the blue screen, that's where you need the help of visual effects to tell you what you're looking at.
And so we used what's called Unreal Engine. Unreal Engine is this amazing real-time rendering. We were able to design our environments to scale, put them into Unreal Engine, and then we had AR goggles that we would put on, Oculus, and we were able to fly through the city, we were able to walk through the environments, we were able to put real lenses on, and Jaume could frame up some of the shots.
So you have a city that suddenly feels reinvigorated because this champion has arrived and he's going to take Kahndaq under his wing at the end of this, and God forbid anyone cross that line, because it's not going to be a good day for them if they do.
At the beginning of this movie, in ancient Kahndaq, Black Adam is gifted with the wisdom, courage, and strength within the Rock of Eternity. And just as quickly, he is imprisoned for for using those powers the wrong way.
Black Adam wakes from a 5,000-year sleep, having been put in a prison by the wizards.
He has vowed that he would do everything to protect his people, and that means death to anyone who tries to hurt the people of Kahndaq.
We only see in the DC lore the Rock of Eternity once, and then the wizards hid it from human sight for the rest of eternity. And this is where our story starts.
Black Adam is this mythological presence that I kind of stumble upon, and I call upon him not really knowing if it's gonna work.
Shazam!
Honestly, just wanted to tell his story. I mean, my main objective was just to make it a Black Adam movie and to offer the fans a clear understanding of why he is the way he is and what happened to him.
A lot of people are familiar with, the idea of the wizards choosing and so forth, and we really wanted to kind of break that up and really delve into a character that received the powers through an unorthodox way.
We wanted them to look, all-knowing. So we wanted to take away brows or add tattoos or markings or brands, things that showed the travel of time through the centuries.
So these are all of our wizard sticks. So all these sort of represent a different time period, and these all, of course, light up. They all look like wizard sticks, but they all have just a little bit of different texture. Like this feels like it's a different planet.
When we wake Black Adam from his 5,000-year sleep, he doesn't understand the modern world around him. But the first thing that we need to understand about him is he is godlike, and he can kind of comprehend the dangers immediately and learn how to dispatch them right away.
It was this tremendous set, pretty practical all around, 360 degrees, with these colorful LED lights underneath, just kind of illuminating the entire set.
We really wanted to paint the story with light so that it's not always exactly clear and transparent, and it's not one-dimensional, so that you have to look to find the truth of the story.
First day we were doing Rock of Eternity, where they discover Black Adam. I just wanted to check out the set. I remember walking in, the whole studio was just huge. And then this massive set piece in the center.
Rock of Eternity is one of the first things. In fact, it was day one. They were in there again, a large set that has a large set extension to it.
The Rock of Eternity is the birthplace of Black Adam. To give Kahndaq a sense of history, we created the ancient Kahndaqi language.
The made-up language and whatnot is just so cool.
Adriana is the keeper of the secrets and lore of Kahndaq, and she can read the ancient Kahndaqi language, which is really quite a lot of fun to create. We enter here in through the tombs, which haven't been entered for 5,000 years. We find the glyphs on the floor.
Well, I designed two sets of languages. One was the ancient language, which was used on the Rock of Eternity, and that was actually based on all of the dead languages, Sumerian characters and letters that is no longer spoken today.
Speaking with his power, so he may suffer a dreamless sleep.
The first week at the Rock of Eternity was so cool. When you walked in and you really understood the grandeur of the film, it was just such an experience, so ornate.
That was actually the first thing we shot. So it was okay, all right, we're just going for it. We're just head on.
We wanted to create a scene that showed that he's not just someone who can fly or leap or jump, but he can basically wreak havoc on the world.
JD came up with this robotic arm that moves Dwayne around and allows him to kind of have this float-like feeling without wires.
We did a very simple move where Black Adam is just standing there and he is just floated up into the air. And seeing the robotic arm do that was real big. Okay, this is gonna work and this is gonna look good.
The machine they built for DJ, it's just incredible.
I was like, if they're gonna do this for anyone, it should be DJ. That was one of the coolest technical machines I've seen anywhere.
Ready? And action.
There's so many iterations of Black Adam from history. In the very beginning, he was just a pure villain. Over time, he evolved into kind of an anti-hero.
And that's kind of the beauty of telling an origin story. This is really a rediscovery and giving this country a sense of pride with their own superheroes. And that's who Black Adam is.
You
are not a hero.
No, I'm not.
Man, you gotta get yourself ready for these costumes. I've probably never looked cooler.
Everybody's costume is so unique. They're so fun to see everybody dressed the way they are and to walk around like this is what we're doing today.
With DC, I think they allow designers to come in and create a vision with them.
This is something that has never been seen before.
The interesting thing about Black Adam, it kind of all goes back to Egyptian art.
We wanted there to be the textures that kind of showed the writing of the ancient language of Kondak, and we also wanted the costume to reflect his journey.
So for us, that was incorporating his elements from being a slave and how those then transform into superhero.
One of the big elements was obviously the lightning bolt.
When he becomes the champion, there's kind of like a middle version where it's this bigger symmetrical bolt. And then when he becomes Black Adam, it becomes even bigger and more pronounced.
Dwayne becomes the champion in white and gold. And then when they kill his son and family, that rage kind of encompasses him and he becomes black.
When I tried on the suit, I hated it because it had all the muscle padding in it. You put on a suit, a superhero suit, and it is padded. It actually takes away all your hard-earned muscle that you have worked hard for. So they went back and they applied their mastery, and we finally came back with a suit that formed around my body.
He revealed his body to us. I mean, it was just incredibly huge, which made our job easy because we don't need to do anything with the costume. He already is the costume.
They found a way and a fabric and material to do it, and it fits Dwayne so beautifully.
And the very first time I put that suit on, it was fucking unforgettable. Because in that moment, I became Black Adam. Born out of rage. Shit.
Hawkman is also one of the great costumes in the superhero pantheon.
Hawkman's outfit was probably one of the most complex ones. It needed to look very strong, but at the same time be very comfortable for the actor. We used a combination of different looks from Hawkman throughout the years, tried to give him like the classic strap with the logo.
Aldis was amazing. When we first got together, he showed us like what was in his head, and we showed him what we'd been working on, and it was actually very much on the same page.
Needed to make sure that, you had a costume that could lend itself to the athleticism that it took to do these fight scenes. So working with the team, it was pretty cool just to see the process.
I think it still feels kind of Egyptian and kind of Art Deco in a way, and I think we were trying to figure out how do we interpret this idea that nth metal could create anything, so how his costume and armor could grow from a simple shape and piece. So I think that's where we started with these simple shapes and the idea that they could repeat and create these big armor pieces.
And then the helmet, once you get on that helmet, everything changes.
The helmet we started before anything else. The helmet's really beautiful, but this is all really Egyptian. This kind of like falcon wing motif here, which we were able to bring in here, which was great.
That's a very ambitious costume, and Kurt and Bart knocked it out of the park.
We knew from the beginning that Dr. Fate was going to be a CG character just because of everything he needs to do and the magic involved.
He's always floating, he's hovering, the cape is reflective and showing reflections of future, the helmet, there's so much into it that we realize that going about probably a full CG way.
To create my character's look, it's all digitalized. I have to get into this ridiculous outfit, which is covered in white dots. It's tight, it's grey, it can be highly embarrassing, but thank God I grew up in the theatre and worked in the theatre, so I can step out there, hold my head high. Hopefully they will make me look magnificent as Dr. Fate.
Dr. Fate is such a unique vibe. When Pierce puts on Dr. Fate's wardrobe, it just immediately informs the character.
For Dr. Fate, the most important thing was the helmet.
One thing Jaume is really adamant about is he hates symmetry in things. I remember him saying early on, he said, I want to be able to go 360 around this helmet and it always looks different.
I made the choice to not put any eyes on Dr. Fate. I imagined that if he's magical, he doesn't need eyes. And I could use the clean face to basically use for reflections.
It's a beautiful, elegant, kind of mystical piece of alchemy and armor. You see the silhouette and you see him out there, and it does have a power and an elegance.
Woo! Look at that suit. It's cool.
Thanks. You too.
Thank you.
And they have two new recruits, Atom Smasher and Cyclone.
So these are my street clothes. I love Cyclone's clothes. I think she has just a really eclectic style. And I just like the level of play that Cyclone has. Even for her hero costume, there's an element of play with it.
You know, her outfit is very free-flowing because she has to manipulate the wing. So we didn't want her outfit to feel unstructured.
Making body armor for female superheroes is a totally different thing. The Cyclone character, we didn't want it to be super hyper feminized. We wanted it to feel practical and tactical.
Let's roll.
What are you doing? Hey, hey, hey! I'll be right there!
So this is Atom Smasher.
Atom Smasher is, again, very classic, almost taken from the comics.
We wanted it to kind of have a classic superhero vibe to it, but also a little bit retro.
My uncle Al, I get his super suit. So it's a hand-me-down. It's a pretty vintage suit, but it looks sick, dude.
Noah's funny. I mean, he came in like a puppy and was he's really sweet and excitable. And I remember the first time after we met him, he's like, we're gonna have so much fun, guys. And he really meant it.
I think my suit is the coolest suit of the groups. And I'm not just saying that. If someone else had a cooler suit, I would say it. They don't. I am so sorry. Was that expensive?
Me and you. When we get back to the ship?
Yes, sir.
Me and you.
You're really lucky if you get a chance to introduce something completely brand new.
Everybody knows how difficult it is to do superhero outfits. You know, they don't just have to look good, but they have to look good on the actor. There's a lot of expectation from the fans.
We really wanted to give the fans kind of the real core, kind of spirit of the characters, but also bring something different and fresh. And they found an incredible balance. The costumes that they've designed are so cool and badass.
We made a movie that we could be proud of. We made a movie that people are going to respond to and love.